Hello, 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 and welcome to another One Lion of Code. I am One Lion, and our window swap scene is not swapped. What are you doing? An advert. Oh, man. Anyway, hi. Welcome in. Hello, Cat. I hope you're having a fantastic day today. Today is Wednesday, and it's my first stream of the week because on Monday I got called in for jury selection, which I was not selected for, thankfully. So we are back to the grind, although I do still need to call in each Friday at the end of the day, or at the end of my workday at least, to see if they're going to call me back in until the end of the month. But supposedly that has never happened for quite some time. And that is absolutely okay and understandable. Kat, you don't need a reason to not feel well necessarily if you just happen to not feel well. So I hope you are able to go through whatever the feeling is and experience it. And yeah, I hope you don't feel any kind of pressure to do anything about it except be in it. I don't know how many people in your life tell you that you're allowed to feel whatever you feel when you feel it. Most people are like, suck it up and deal with it. So hopefully I can at least give you some encouragement to just feel what you feel. I do. Of course I do. Absolutely. But yeah, we're going to my desktop, I think, with some errors in the app. I think we're going to try to build. So what screen are you going to display? You're going to display this one, hopefully. Let's hope. Yay! And I still have the wrong marquee going. So it has been a bit. It's gonna take me, yeah, absolutely. And we do have a rant room if it's anything that you feel like ranting about. If not, just know that even if you just want an ear, you can private message me and I'll listen without trying to give you any solutions or trying to talk you out of it or help you find a way through whatever it is you're going through. I will listen. All right. Cool. So on my screen, we saw an error, but I don't know where that error was coming from. So it's coming from Maui. From initialize component. Yeah, maybe a build will work. I hope that wasn't my door. I have some work being done in my backyard, and and it seems like they might be trying to come to my door. So yeah, there's a bunch of NuGet restore issues that are happening because of one of my NuGet package references. And I recently just I renewed one of my API keys, not API keys, one of my PATs, which is the personal access token for this. And I re-added it to my NuGet using NuGet blah, 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 blah. NuGet source update, told it the thing, gave it the username and pat, and yeah, it seems to have broken. So I'm just going to remove that. Been looking into trying to install Arch Linux or Arch Linux. I don't exactly know whether it's Arch or Arch. for fun. See how difficult it is, really. Oh, well, I hope you're able to actually get it done. I haven't tried to install Linux on anything in quite a while. The thing, or no, that's a lie. I mean, I did install Ubuntu on WSL and got Docker and everything working on it. I don't remember how any of it works, but on a specific device is what I mean. I'll do that tomorrow, though. Supposedly Arch takes a while, as it's this really bare bones kind of thing. So does it even come with a kernel? Or, I mean, Arch would be the kernel. Does it come with any kind of UI on top of it? So you have to install your own package manager and stuff, I think. I don't know. I mean, that sounds right to me. That sounds right. If you're gonna call it bare bones, then I assume it's just the operating system and yeah. And then you install everything else on top of it. Oh no. I'm not picking this one up. It wasn't even open. Give me this one. I want this water. So I need to figure out what is going on with my build. Oh, I think we figured out what's going on with my build. So I'm going to give it a moment. Hang on a moment. And so this time we're not getting the NuGet restore issues, but we are getting a certificate issue. Aha. Okay. So I think this was supposed to be using my personal self-signed certificate. Gosh. And then I also had to remake that thing. So how do I regenerate a certificate? I have a better idea. I really don't want to mess with that at the moment, so we're just going to remove it from our build configuration. No Maui and no UWP, and I don't think the WPF version had an issue. Yeah, because that one doesn't need a certificate to run, because you can run that one native, or not natively, but from Visual Studio instead of needing to essentially build and deploy it in order to be able to run it. Let's try that again. I guess so too, yeah. Friend told me it took him 5 hours while following a tutorial. Actually, 5 hours really isn't that long. Just installing Windows, I can remember the times that I had to manually install Windows, and it took me forever. Because, I don't know. I'm just not really into that, and so I don't devote much time to keeping any of it in the foreground or easily accessible memory bank. So I always have to look everything up. But I don't know. More recently, I think Windows installs have been a lot easier, I guess. And hello, TBD. Great stream this morning. Quick shout out to TBD Gamer. And maybe before the end of the stream, we'll be able to do another shout out for you, because enough time will have had passed. But TBD is a .NET developer. He does front end in Angular and back end in Amazing. Not to say Angular isn't amazing, but you know what I mean. I'm not the biggest fan of JavaScript frameworks for anything, but they're still really cool if you know how to use them. Hole, dig. Anyway, he has great streams. They're really, really entertaining and informational, and he's just a really cool guy. So yeah, check out his streams. It is every morning my time, which will be 7 a.m. his time, which is UTC -4 currently still. When is daylight savings in the US? November 3rd. So we still have a ways to go before I need to think too hard about when the UTC time zones, UTC offset switches for us. Actually, yeah, no, that's right. He says. Okay, well, the good news is we got a build. I really don't remember where we were last because it has been since last week Wednesday, since I didn't have a stream on Monday. But we should be able to get caught up relatively quick. I'm sure it's just still some resizing for responsive UI stuff, responsive CSS. Let's get this as our focused browser. I need to put some kind of something on my what do you call this? Coaster. This is my coaster that I'm using. It's a dragon because I have a to serve and protect dragon thing that we use for some of the smaller pieces of our tabletop game that these came in. Anyway, this thing, my bottle, the bottom of it has this, or the outside of it, I guess, has this rubber sleeve thing. And so for some reason it likes to suction cup to it, even though it doesn't seem like a suction cuppable surface. That. Okay, show me mobile. So this is what we've been working in. We supposedly have the hero section done. It's stretching a little bit more to the right than we'd like because there is something that's overflowing to the right that we will need to fix when we get to it. The second section, or the first official section of content, is done. And then this we were working, I remember, we were working on getting these, the images, to overlay on top of each other in a way that is similar to how it appears when it is not in mobile. Geez, that was hard for me to get to. And I wanted to switch their sides so that this back one is on the top left and the bottom one is on the bottom right, without affecting the button. But the button itself, oh, right, I haven't positioned the button on the larger screen yet, so we're not going to worry about that too much. We'll just keep it in mind. But positioning those would be great. Gosh, but at what size do we want to position them? Because I really don't like the growing and shrinking based off of the viewport size. So let's see what happens if instead of transform translate U, the X direction. Oh, I would like to copy this rule, please. We transform translate U. Can I paste the rule? So I copied the rule, but it doesn't let me paste it. Oh, Notepad. I need to figure out how to become a big-time streamer and make a living doing that so I can quit this nonsense. Step one. Step one is to switch the transform translate X to the second of type. Or I mean last of type. Wait, not you. No. So the thing about becoming a full-time streamer, this is all opinion. This is not by experience or anything like that. These are my assumptions. Are that you probably need to start off in a position where you can afford to not work for an extended period of time and devote all of your time and energy to streaming. That way you can make your business model, you can stick to it, you don't have the interruptions of not being able to afford bills. Interruptions, I say. So step one is to be at a financial position where you don't need to have a monthly income to let you live the way that you're currently living. And hello, Radio Patrick. How are you doing? Hope you are well. I am doing fantastic. As soon as my brain catches up. And then step two is to do a lot of hours. But stream something interesting. I don't think that is as important as being able to present in an interesting way. That one, again, if you're making streaming your primary source of income, then there probably is a game to be played, as it is said often about just about any industry. And so you don't necessarily need to stream something that you consider interesting, you just need to win at the game. Oops, that was wrong. Yeah, that's just wrong. Okay, let's try this. What do you look like? All right, good. That did exactly what I wanted it to do. We'll get the pictures to stop resizing as we make the viewport bigger and smaller, and instead just have them hit certain breakpoints and get smaller or larger depending on viewport size. And Radio Patrick's I've got words. Radio Patrick says, yeah, there's super popular channels on Twitch where all they do is play chill lo-fi or just sit there in silence and co-work with chat. As long as you can find a niche and establish yourself, my understanding has been that it's mostly about consistency and accessibility. I agree with that. And again, I agree with that from a personal opinion perspective, because I don't know for sure. I have many, many assumptions about the people that are able to accrue enough viewers and consistent viewership, which is not anything, well, not all negative viewpoints. But Radio Patrick says I'm doing okay, TBD, because TBD asked how are you doing. Just programming and starting on the job hunt. What do you well, again, I don't want to make you type more than you are already going to, but I will prompt you with this. What are you working on? What types of things are fun to you right now, or that you're just working on in general? I say fun because that's my metric for whether I put more effort into something or not, which is probably bad, but that's just me. Okay, so we're good with this. You're doing what I want you to. I'm gonna squish you down like that, and then I'm gonna get rid of my overriding transforms on here. We're gonna keep the picture top off. So I'm gonna just get rid of the rule the rule itself and not the selectors. That did, oh, still compiling. Compile successful. Wow, CSS autosync is working with us. That's super nice. I feel a lot like, I feel a lot of it is the social media game nowadays too. If you look at people like Pirate Software, dude is all over Twitch, YouTube, Reels, TikTok, everything. Yeah, and that's where I'm like, if you're able to market yourself like that, that is super cool because you have that ability. And even if you don't naturally have it, if you are earnest about trying to make this your and I know it was just a passing comment, I think, or not, no, I think it was just a passing comment by TBD, but I still want to address it just because. But it is possible that if you want to make streaming your primary source of income, that you would do the work needed to get yourself out there, to market yourself, to let people know that you are streaming and that whatever you're streaming is worth their time. And yeah. Long gone are the days of simply making a good product and people organically find you and show up. Yeah, and I'm still going to live by those days because I would like to see the people here that feel like being here. And if you feel like stepping away, you're allowed to step away with no strings attached. PBD says, in all honesty, I love this community. Genuinely highlight of my day, hanging out and chatting about cool stuff with people that give a crap. I wouldn't want the stress of putting my living behind me entertaining people. And Radio Patrick says to TBD, I'd argue though, it's more about the content than explicit entertainment. Even if it's just clips of a short opinion about a language or framework or a suggestion about technology, there's still valid short form content to share. Hi. Agreed. But I agree with both of you. Building a presence, it's a tough game, says TBD. To Radio Patrick, but I'm taking it. I'm reading it because I can. So yes, picture top offset, translate X, picture left offset. And this is the second one. So why aren't you translating X, picture left offset? And why are you translating X, picture left offset? Interesting, because you're getting this from where? Media query. I thought that I just removed that. Yeah, let's get rid of this. Oh, because that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to center this, which is cool. We can still do, if we do width, auto, and then margin, 0 auto. And that should center it for us. Perfect. And again, it doesn't quite look centered. Ooh, and actually it won't, because I am centering the div. It's not taking into account the second image's width, the one that is position absolute. So how am I going to do that? That's another case where I'm probably going to have to set a fixed width for the image, or for the container. What if, and this is a big what if, we did do a transform, translate. Yeah, give me what you were going to give me, Copilot. Translate X calc -1 times var picture left offset. And that will make it look centered, because the bottom picture is moving to the right of being centered by picture left offset, and now we're making the top picture move left by the same amount. and it looks centered. And again, not necessarily centered to our current display because of this overflow that we haven't fixed yet. But we'll fix that next. But that means that this section is done for responsive mode. So let's do a quick commit. And it looks like I have been committing to the repo. So if you're interested in the project itself, here is the repo. You can see it is open source. You can contribute if you so feel like. There is absolutely no requirement to. This is a stream project that we're doing for content, for the ability to see a .NET development Blazor application as it would be done in the real world, or as I would do it, I guess, in the real world, as I am currently doing it in the real world, because I am back to working for people that need Blazor apps done. Oh, it's so nice. I love my job. Anyway, Radio Patrick says, to answer your question, I'm working on rebuilding the data access layer and web API for an internet radio station. I'm starting up, so lots of repetitive entity framework calls and data validation. I already have a lot of this work done, but due to front-end complexities, I decided to rebuild with a better separation of concern between the front and back ends, and then restart with some extra client-side responsibilities. That sounds really fun. I'm doing something not super dissimilar, but it isn't as complex. I needed to create a library that will take any CSV or Excel file. Maybe I'll add in the ability to do TSV if the library that I am using, the Excel data reader, I think is the name of the library. It's a NuGet package, will support TSV or some other file type that I'm not aware of. OXD is maybe the only other one, OpenOffice. But they most likely won't be using that, so I don't think I need to do that. But I've essentially abstracted away the file reader. And the only thing that that the file reader currently does is it accepts a file and then turns it from Excel, CSV, whatever, to a data table. Then I could process that per application, because I do this in 3 or 4 different ways. So I'm like, since they need a new feature that is able to read in files in any format, as in it's not predictable what columns and what the value types are going to look like. So I'll take the input record or input data file, parse it out to a data table, and let the application handle mapping that data table with its columns and data types to the object that the application needs. And that way, first of all, this is just the easiest way for me to implement the current need, but in future I can just replace all of the other data readers with this, so that I only have to update libraries in one place when I'm upgrading the .NET frameworks or whatever I happen to be doing. And hello, Delastia. How are you on this wonderful Wednesday? Welcome into the stream. I am One Lion. I'm a .NET developer working currently on stream projects. These are side projects or I guess one specific stream project. This is a side project that we are demonstrating what the development process is potentially actually like on various teams. We went through the process of deciding what the application is that we're going to create, then making some decisions on the technologies we're going to use, maybe a little bit of UI work. It used to look like this when we first started. We went through the entire development process for the functionality and this basic UI. Then after finishing that, we were like, okay, this actually needs design work. My initial intent was to design the UI, design the backend, then implement all of the things. Unfortunately, I didn't stick to that. So we role-played as the client that asked us for this product. The client said, "We thank you for your time. It's a great product. I love how it works. Don't like how it looks. We're going to bring in a UI designer." And I am not a UI designer by any means. Well, I keep saying by any means. I am getting better at it. And I have developed some skills, but I still don't feel very competent as a UI designer. So we role-played as the client that hired a UI designer. Then we role-played as the UI designer to redesign the UI for this existing application. And I did end up getting a Figma Pro license because I'm using it for my actual job now. And I am also using it to show what that process from a UI designer's perspective might look like. Well, I appreciate it, TBD, but I still don't feel as skilled as the UI designers I have worked with before. They are amazing. They are really, really good at this. So in comparing myself to that metric, or comparing myself to the place I would like to be. So anyway, we went through, used Figma, learned it a bit. You were role-playing the job. True. Yeah, that is their job and I'm just role-playing it. But it is also my job. So, because I have to do the entire application management lifecycle, including UI development and stuff, and updates and upgrades. Delastia says, "Bruh, I'm stuck today at environment variables." Well, do share. Tell more. I will do my best to answer. Usually I reserve going deep into answering questions until Friday, which I do as community days, where you can ask any questions that you have. We can look at any specific code you might have, your specific situation, or just stuff in general that you want to talk about regarding the that is relevant to the content of this channel. But I'm still happy to respond to anything. Yes, and TBD Gamer will be having a community day as well on Friday the 27th. So definitely feel free to join his stream then. And I'm assuming that you're starting at your normal time, 7 a.m. Eastern, UTC -4. No. 1, you're allowed to self-promote. 2, I know that you weren't self-promoting, so if you don't want me to shout it out, then please let me know and I will avoid doing so in the future. But don't feel like you were pressuring me into doing so. I am glad to do it. So you switch to Ubuntu, and now you have to make some environment variables to navigate my Go path, I guess. So you're working in Go, like the actual language? Cool. And you need to update the path and set all that up. I haven't done it myself, but I have worked in languages where you need to set up paths and get all of that working. I don't think it's too difficult to set up paths in Ubuntu or environment variables in Ubuntu. There's like an actual set env command, I think, or in Linux set environment variable. Oh, export. Ah. Set env, I think, is PowerShell, not Bash. If you're wondering what this is up here, if you haven't seen something like this, this is called grepper, Grepper. It is a Chrome extension, and I highly recommend it, where you type in a question into Google, and if there is a recommended answer that someone else has pointed out, then you will see them in a summary at the top of your search results, and usually they're what you were looking for to begin with. Oh, there is a set env. Huh. But yeah. Maybe Python. Feels more like Python. It does. It really does feel like more like Python, but this says Linux set environment. Do you have the reference to the document itself? I totally thought that there was, yeah, a source. So this one doesn't have a source. This is probably just someone giving an answer to it. Interesting. But I would trust the ones that have the source. Sources. No, grepper is free. Just type grepper Chrome extension. I think they also have one for Firefox and Edge. You already have it installed. I know, but I want to show people. So it's free. It looks like there are, oh no. Why did I have to go and see this? I don't want to recommend this anymore because it may no longer be supported soon because it doesn't follow best practices for Chrome extensions. I really, really like this tool a lot. It's got a 4.4 rating out of 5 with 400 ratings. So anyway. Yeah. Like one of the strongest skills you can gain as a developer is finding out how to search for the things that you don't know, especially search for the things that you don't know that you don't know. And then they can tell you what you don't know so that you can then search for those things and figure out how to do them. But yeah, I also, like in that community day message, you will have seen the link to our Discord. We are predominantly a .NET group of people, but we do have people that are well-versed in different operating systems and using Linux and using command lines and using Bash. So, or any shell in general. We even have a member of our community, or we're a member of his community, Xcoding, who is creating his own shell. So, yeah. You're welcome to join. You're also welcome to not join if you're already part of too many Discords. Oh, on Monday you joined. Oh, yeah, I kind of remember. So I was at jury duty on Monday. You would have seen that I forgot to say that I wasn't going to be streaming on Monday on the actual Twitch channel. I forgot to skip that stream, but I was in. Join us. We have cake. Oh, hi, Emporium guy. Sorry, I meant to say hi when I first saw your message. Hello back. Shout out to Emporium guy, another great .NET developer. Glad to be a part of his community. But yeah, I was at jury duty. And, all right, I'm happy with this. I was going to do a commit. That's where we were. And I was explaining that we have been committing to the repo. So the repos version should be up to date. It is a branch called task/52-revamp-layout, in case you are interested in keeping up with where we are. So I'm new in programming, like brand new, and I have a lot of questions. Well, this is a great place to ask them. We will not shame you for asking questions. More responsive styling for view transaction history section. I'll go ahead and push it. For now, I'll just chill a little and watch you work. Awesome. Well, glad to have you here, and you're always welcome to chime in. And so that you can practice it, there is one thing that I'm going to call myself notorious for it. I don't know that anyone else has pointed it out, but I do catch myself doing it a lot. I ask for opinionated developers to speak up about their opinions, and then what I think I'm doing, I'm going to say what I think I'm doing, and then what most likely is happening. What I think I'm doing is listening to the opinion, weighing it against what I understand of whatever the situation is, and then giving a rebuttal, a correction, or agreement. Seeking more information, or saying, I disagree because this is how I see it, or I agree with the way that you're saying it. And I think what I'm actually doing is almost always judging it and saying, not quite. My favorite phrase. Almost, but. So if you catch me doing that, feel free to call me out. Mine will start a war with these hot takes. Well, other people's hot takes, right? Because they're not mine. I just want other people to be wrong on my stream so that I can look like I'm right. That's a terrible, terrible thing. I hope I'm not doing that. I really don't want to be doing that. All right, we are at the footer. And again, see me moving on. I think the footer is the thing that's causing this overflow issue to happen. I'm also seeing that regardless of whether or not we get the overflow X to do what I'm expecting it to, we're still going to have some overflow on the bottom border. Not border, the bottom div. Okay, so to the footer. Are you still in main? I mean index, or are you your own? You are your own thing. TBD says to Emporium Guy, says the guy that holds some pretty strong opinions about Apple users and client-side development. Speaking of, I got my first Apple product, like my first owned Apple product ever. I have never personally owned an Apple product, not even an iPod. I got my first iPad and I'm using it. The main reason I got it, which is probably a stupid reason, but I don't care. The main reason I got it was because Jump Desktop is no longer supported on Android and hasn't been for a while. I didn't want to use any of the other remote desktop type applications to remote to my computers. They're all already using Jump Desktop. They can talk to each other. They can view each other's screens, control each other. And yeah, and I saw that it's still supported on iOS. So I got an iPad. The second reason that did convince me that it's okay to get it, because I have to convince myself that it's okay to do these things, was that I do MAUI development and I wanted to be able to deploy to iPad, especially since the Army Vegemon application, this application here, and yes, please laugh when you see the UI. When I bring it over to Blazor, I am strongly considering using MAUI for this, because right now what the technicians do is they take a handheld device called a Trimble Nomad, because Trimble has a lot of devices. They use this ancient device called a Trimble Nomad. They take it out to the field with them. It has Windows, whatever the handheld Windows is called, Windows SE, Windows something. And so there's this application on it where they have to export a couple of spreadsheets, a couple of XLSs or CSVs, sorry, from this application, import it into this device. then take it out to the field, do some recordings, come back, export the stuff off of the device, import it back in here. If they open the CSV file and save it in Excel, then it loses the quotation marks, which means that the spaces are no longer, or commas inside of strings are no longer treated as regular commas. They're delimiters, and it just messes up the file overall. Report. Okay, so instead what I would like to do is allow them to have an Android, iOS, and web version of this that will, and the web version will be a PWA. So even if they aren't using the native iOS or native Android version of the application, they can still use the web version, take it out into the field. They'll lose internet connection at some point while they're out there, or it'll be spotty while they're collecting information, but I still don't want that information to be lost. When their network connection gets restored, then it gets uploaded directly instead of needing to go through this whole export-import process. Whew. So having an iPad to be able to test that on would be great. Yeah. And I can probably, like, by the time I get to that project, if they even let me do that project, I'll be able to stream that. So we'll do it together. We'll see how it works, what the process is for doing that. And I'll fail a lot, but it'll be a fun experience, I think, at least for me. And hopefully you enjoy it too, but it's more for me. All right, but I saw Deflux in here. Hello, Deflux. Then Emporium Guys said to TBD, we don't talk about that, lols. And then TBD says, and you only had to hand over a kidney to pay for it. True, I did. But I'm making payments for it because it's on my phone plan, and so it doesn't feel as impactful. It's like 30 something bucks a month for 36 months. Ugh, is that even the right number? Anyway, it's something like that. It's a lot of money, is the point. But you need a Mac to do that, don't you? I don't know. I thought that you could use just an iOS device as well. I know that you need to have a developer license with Apple, but I don't remember. President Not Sure says you can use an iPhone with a Windows machine only for dev as long as the app is very simple. Cool. I don't know what very simple means, but I hope that's the case. We'll find out together. And if not, then I'll buy one of those crappy little the things that they tell you not to buy. The little Mac. Yeah, I think it'll have one custom entitlement, which will be camera use. And maybe microphone use, if I want to allow them to dictate to it. Yeah, Mac Mini, thank you. And then TBD says, yeah, I think you might need a Mac as well to do MAUI development to deploy. Okay. I mean, I'll still develop with that in mind, because it's going to be the same UI regardless, since I'm using Blazor. There are going to be Blazor native controls, which would be awesome. But I don't think I'll need to test it on a Mac until I need to push to the store. I can just be like, it only works in web on Macs for now, but it'll be a PWA. So that should be fine. Okay, butter. And feel free to keep chatting, of course. Whenever I say okay, it's to activate myself so that I can get in the right mind space to tackle whatever the thing is. But this stream is very interruptible, and the content is really, like, I love talking about tech with you guys. So yeah, but Deflux came in, talked about the deploy to iPhone is pain in the ass. Burb. And then President Not Sure was the one that helped us out with, you can use an iPhone on with a Windows machine only for devs as long as the app is very simple. So what I could do is have it to where I don't use any of the camera or microphone things on it. And then President Not Sure says, if it's just a Blazor Hybrid, as long as you don't have special capability needs for iOS, it should just work plugging in an iOS device into the Windows. Yeah, and I think that's gonna work into the Windows machine for dev only. Can't create builds for Test Flight or App Store Connect. Okay. Yeah, and I think that is where we're gonna be at. Is your structure MVVM or MVC? I think the closest would be MVVM. I don't purposefully follow structure patterns. I follow the pattern that makes the most sense for me, that I've established after working in this for quite a while, making mistakes, not liking things, changing things around, and learning from other people how they structure things and being like, that's a good idea, I'm going to incorporate that. Like Patrick God, for example, is one of my favorite explainers of things related to Entity Framework or Blazor. Apparently he's doing Dapper, but like he has this course that he has for free on here where he shows his structure, his approach, and it looks very similar to mine, except he puts a repository layer on top of his Entity Framework layer, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me. Entity Framework is my repository. I mean, I might not have built-in queries and stuff like that, but that's what views in the database are for if I wanted to create a built-in view and then just be able to query it like it's another entity. It's me. Again, these are my opinions, and I could be wrong, I could be right, I could just be neutral and have my way of doing things, but yeah. I love his explanations of things. He's really, really good at explaining them. I like his structure. James Montemagno, who I've watched a lot of his original videos and then started to watch less and less of them because they're all sensational now, in my opinion. He has this pattern that he called MVVMS. MVVMS. And this is almost exactly the pattern that I use, which is I have a whole bunch of libraries. The main app library is only concerned with presenting the application. So I guess presenting the application and doing the backend communication. But then I have a library of services. I have shared models, shared services. And what a service to me is a set of related code within a related domain, I guess. So it's almost domain driven. And so I have one place where the abstraction is defined for those services. And then I have an implementation of that service if you happen to be on the client side of things. So if you're doing stuff in the browser and you want to expose these services to functionality within your app, those typically are HTTP requests to an API controller. This could be a function, this could be a microservice. And then the only thing that controller does in my applications is forwards the request to the server-side implementation of the service. So here's my server-side implementation of get accounts. And that's what makes the most sense to me as far as building an application that is future-proof, because now that .NET 8 has come out and restructured your solution, my services still make sense. I can still take this and we will do so, by the way. I can take this exact library here, upgrade it to .NET 8, and then use a file new project, Blazor web app, target.NET 8 or maybe .NET 9 by the time we get there. And then just point it to these services, and we have the functionality there. Okay. Then Napalm says, the thought process is to avoid coupling to entity framework. Okay, that makes perfect sense to me. Yeah, so another abstraction layer on top of it, so you're not on a specific ORM. That was hard for me to think of the acronym. That makes perfect sense, Napalm. What if EF doesn't have a provider for your database of choice? True. Yes, absolutely. And then Emporium Guy says, I know some people would not like what you said about EF being a repository. It kind of is, because you're exposing ways to access data from the database in a pretty structured way. You define the models that the database data is going to map to, and then you are given things like select and first or default and order by and filter criteria, ordering criteria, and transformation criteria, essentially. So that's why I would define it as a repository. 8bits is here. Hello, 8bits. I agree with you though, says Emporium Guy. But yeah, not to the strictness of what a repository pattern might tell you you're supposed to do, as far as only exposing ways to get specific types of data from your database. Maybe, I don't know if that's actually a rule, because I don't really I don't study patterns on purpose. President Not Sure says, has anyone actually used Entity Framework in an enterprise app where they feel the need to switch out databases and the new database doesn't have an EF provider? I'm going to say no to that. I have used it in many enterprise applications, and have not needed to switch out the provider at all. The cases I can see for that though are if they come out with new technology for, man, I don't know. Yeah, if they come out with a brand new database technology that is super duper fast, makes more sense for you to use. My guess is that Microsoft would be on top of it and create a provider for it pretty quickly, since it's also community driven. Like, we can create a pull request to add a provider. So I think it would be covered. And how am I doing today? I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for asking. Monday I had jury duty and I was not selected, but I still need to call in for the next 2 Fridays to see if I need to go back. Chances are I won't need to go back. They said it hasn't happened since a long time ago, since they can even remember. But I'm really happy that I got that over with. So I'm feeling quite a bit better. Yesterday, I went for an awesome, amazing mountain drive. We went down south close to Colorado Springs, actually to Colorado Springs, and then took this windy, nice road that had all of these amazing vistas and what are they called? River trails, river drives. Oh, so good. So nice. So anyway, I'm feeling great. That said, a bunch of Oracle people are probably crying at the moment. Yeah. True. Fair doesn't happen in the real world, it would seem. Yeah. That would be one of those cases where it's like, is this really something we need to consider? Do we need to implement the entire repository pattern? This kind of goes back to a discussion in TBD's stream this morning about how much effort to put into developing a thing. Like, we're constantly talking about, it seems, how much, at what point does a thing start to become over engineering? And I do like that topic a lot because I have my feelings on it. I have my opinions on it. Until Cassandra DB gets beaten, it would be a long while. Yeah. But choosing to implement a repository pattern because it's the right way to do a development, which adds overhead to the maintenance of data, kind of like putting an API layer on top of accessing data. So you would not only have the API layer, you would also have the repository layer. So you go through your API because of Azure Functions, because of an actual API that you're using to get to your repository to access your data from, let's say, Entity Framework or whatever ORM you use, Dapper, whatever. Do you go ahead and implement the repository pattern with its overhead on top of the other technologies you're already needing to implement if you don't think it is going to be very likely that you're going to change your database? So you don't need a specific database provider. Or you don't need to worry about changing to an unsupported database provider for your selected ORM. That's what I'm trying to get at. So if not, what are the other benefits that make it worth your time to implement the repository pattern? And I'm not asking that in a negative way or in a challenging way. I'm asking that in a genuine, I don't know what the benefits are, aside from the same thing that an API layer might give you. Okay. 8-Bit says, I'm starting to get React and Next.js vibes. You have this abstraction on this abstraction on this API layer because we don't want to solve the underlying problem. I agree. And Napalm said, what you think doesn't matter. It's what the business thinks, what they say we can save dollars by doing. That is also very true. Oh my goodness. One of the biggest things that happened at the place that I was at is that they didn't have the money and time to invest in tests. And so what we needed to do is fix all of the bugs that got reported, make the app better, and implement new features without bugs. But don't spend time on tests, because they can't afford to spend time on tests. And our case was trying to prove to them using hard numbers that we could save time in fixing bugs. Oh my gosh, thank you, Equality. Thank you, thank you, thank you. They could not afford not to write tests. But it's really, really hard to sell a product manager on that, because the product manager is going to their boss, the people that give them money for the project, to say, we need to see these features. We need to see that the app is getting good ratings in the Windows Store. Because if we don't, we're going to can your tests. We're going to cut your funding. You're going to have to figure out how to do more with less, kind of thing. It's like, the way we do more with less is we make automated tests so that if we implement a new feature, we can add tests as we're implementing the new feature and have it be more likely to be bugless. Oh, good grief. And the way that they tested is they have one person that does QA on all of the new features that get implemented. And that usually doesn't take into consideration what other pieces of the app did the new feature touch. You can't not test. I'm a double negative, man. 8-Bit says, people wonder why I click with .NET, or why I click. We're like, anyway, why I stick with .NET for what I can do for development. They say I should try to use TypeScript or JavaScript library that relies on other libraries and so forth. I mean, we still have that same issue. NuGet is this is a project that relies on another library, and that library relies on another library. even within the .NET framework, when you get down to a console app, bare bones, you start there and then you add on the web SDK on top of that, which has a whole bunch of libraries that come with it that you're also going to be using. So yeah, still libraries that depend on libraries, but yeah, this is just the language that I am most comfortable with and I love. So that would be my argument. It's like, yes, those do work very well if you are proficient in them. And I've gotten proficient in this, and this works just as well, if not better. So I'm going to keep using it. I'm sorry if it offends you. JS is butts, and nobody will ever make me use it when I can use C#. I prefer not to use JS, but I have had instances where it was appropriate to use, so I use it. But it's very rare. And then Emporium Guy says, not to the extent of TypeScript or JavaScript. And yeah, President Usher is like, you preach to the choir. And Napalm says, bottom line is there are no shortcuts no matter what abstractions you put in. System dev is complex and takes time and effort. Yeah, I just think it's pretty easy because, again, I know the patterns of .NET, the patterns being things that I have understood about how .NET works and how people are expecting code to look, that I can structure things and follow them and make them maintainable easier in C# than I would in JavaScript, even if I'm using something like TypeScript that would help me ensure type safety. And that's that. Why do I have this pragma in here? Dereference of possible null. I guess it's because some of these X's are ending up being nulls because payments are nullable. Not every transaction has a payment. Yeah, I guess. Anyway, we're not looking at account, dagnabbit. We are going back to the footer. But yes, feel free to ask more questions. Feel free to share more opinions, share more truths, because not everything is an opinion. Sometimes it's just how it is. But a lot of times I would rather take it as an opinion. 8-Bit says, I think web dev community was, no joke, slowed down for at least a decade due to everyone wanting to create their own libraries instead of just fixing or improving the base ECMA definitions. I agree. How many frameworks came out in such a short amount of time just because the developer of that framework was like, I can do it better than the previous person. And again, not just JavaScript, but in JavaScript, we saw that happening the most. And now we have like top 2 and maybe a third with React, Vue, Angular, and Vue. It's like, I do just about everything that I need to do with TypeScript, which is transpiled to vanilla JavaScript, so, or ECMAScript 6, you know. I'm all pushing my glasses up, you know. Anyway, 8-Bit says, I mean, this year, literally, just this year, JavaScript just got object.groupBy, or grouping array type, for grouping array types. And Radio Patrick says, my issue with JavaScript is just how shoddy and loose language itself is. It is. Yeah, how language it is, how shoddy and loose of a language it is. The mess of libraries and imports is the cherry on top for me. And yeah, I think .NET could suffer from the same issue. It's just, it's well maintained. It's cleaned up. It looks nice to me. We have a CS proj file, and in that CS proj file, we have all of the things that we might reference, and then within each file we have our using statements that say, I am going to use this library. And so I guess maybe I can't even think of what the name of the file is for React, but React has a similar file. One day I'll send to program exclusively in assembly. React has a file where you define all of your packages that you're going to use in their versions. And then you have import at the top of your JavaScript file for using those things from those libraries. So I don't see too much of a difference there, personally. I just think it looks nicer, and the tooling for Visual Studio is great. I don't know what it's like now for JavaScript for managing libraries, if NPM or Yarn have things that are just as good now as far as being able to manage what libraries your application is using. 8-Bit says Vue, Vue.js, React, React Native, Next.js, Solid.js, Angular, Angular.js. Just realized how stupid it is that there are 2 Vue and Angular libraries with completely different syntax. I don't know about completely different, but I know what you mean. They are different enough that you can't just know one and be able to write in the other. And President Not Sure responded to Radio Patrick's issue with JavaScript, saying, and then you end up with leaf pad, I think is what you're thinking of, or whatever it was, and then everything breaks down. Maybe it was left pad. And no, you don't have to stop yourself from ranting if that's what you want to use the time for. 8-Bit says, last rant on JavaScript from me today, but think of it this way. JavaScript just got a temporal.time class this year. JavaScript didn't have proper time variable usage until 2 months ago. Yeah, and I didn't know that. And then President Not Sure says, think if there were multiple ways to do using statements. Yeah. So there are multiple ways of doing using statements, but I know what you mean. Like, we have something that's kind of similar to import certain specific class or certain specific object from this library, but we can do using timer equals system.timers.timer. So now this timer here is always going to refer to system.timers.timer as opposed to ttimer, which would be system.threading.timer. So this is one thing that I have to do often, is use an alias for this so that I can get the specific timer object from system.timers, because I want to use a timer from system.timers and not a timer from system.threading. But just about every single one of my files has async whatever, and so I need system.threading. And then there's the global usings, and then those are the only, there is one more. The one that is namespaced in a very specific way. And I think it has to do with being able to use internal. Is there one like that? Like the C++ kind of way. I wouldn't even be able to come up with an example of it. I just remember seeing something that looks C++-ish for an import. Anyway, 8-Bit says, well, technically there are 4 ways to do using statements in C#: file scoped using, global scoped using, object declared using, which is used a lot in Unity, and then 4 doesn't come out till .NET 9. So don't know too much about how it works. For the Unity one, you will see a lot of aliasing using object equals unity.object, for example. And then President Not Sure says, but there's just using, not one type of using, and then some other keyword entirely depending on what assembly you're using. Yeah, agreed. Million times agreed. Like when I was doing the ArcGIS wrapper, Blazor wrapper, first of all, I didn't even know TypeScript at the time. So I didn't understand anything about what was coming out. I didn't understand modules. And now that I've had to use isolated modules, I understand them a little bit more. Not too much more, but just enough. More. Why is your shirt so wild? Because of the juxtaposition. And also, hi. Gabule? Is that how it's pronounced? In person, I do really poorly with social interaction as far as like my internals. I may look calm and collected on the outside, but I really don't like social interaction unless it's for a specific purpose, like gathering information, for example, working together on a project, getting something done together. But when it goes to start getting personal and asking about just personal things in a work situation, for example, I get put off by it. So this is kind of a true shirt if you meet me in person, but on stream, this is somewhere that I'm choosing to expose myself to you. And so I'll take whatever ramifications come with it, even though I'm just as nervous, just as anxiety riddled. But I get the we're talking about technology topics thing. Personal interactions outside of work, still no. Someone wanting to go for coffee. Going to the store and needing to deal with a cashier. Whoa, expose yourself in private. Well, I kind of am off camera. Wait. So anyway, I do all of my grocery shopping online, all of my shopping in general online, when I need to get food, going through the drive-thru. Like, I don't know if you guys know, but we have Taco Wednesdays usually, because that's what it's supposed to be. Wait, shoot, what did you just say? What did I just say? Daily meeting problem I have. So I tend to get the same. What about pizza? Pizza happens on whenever pizza happens, but it's Taco Wednesdays. Everyone keeps telling me this weird, I forget what day. It's like Thursday or something. It's one of those. But it's Taco Wednesdays. Everyone knows it's Taco Wednesdays. Although we had taco yesterday, which was very odd for us. See, look, there's another one. Yeah, Tuesday is what it was. That's so weird. Who's ever heard of Taco Tuesday? Oh my gosh, you guys are so weird. Anyway, it's Taco Wednesday. Leave it at that. So point is that I usually get the same server at the drive-thru because I do like to pick up the tacos directly from Taco Bell, avoid the delivery cost, blah, 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 blah. And so because I get the same server, then after some time, they're like, oh, you're back? So how's it been going? And it's like, I'm just here to get my tacos. I don't want to have a social interaction with you, except for the part where you take my order and then you give me my food. And we're not allowed to do that in society because that's just rude. But that's my opinion of how it should be in that kind of a service industry. Not everyone is like that, but for the people that are like that, they should be allowed to be like that. That's the end of it. That's what this shirt is about. It's like, let's if I am voluntarily putting myself out here to be talked with this way, then you can opt into having a conversation about stuff like that. But if I'm just walking or trying to do my errands, jury duty, for example. The whole thing in jury duty where they ask you to read off this list of questions and like state your name, state your hobbies, what is your occupation, tell me more about your personal life. I kind of get why the judge and professionals in the room need to know that, but in front of all of these people, they don't even take into consideration what is your personality type. Are you even okay with speaking in public and sharing details about yourself? Or is that something you hold close to yourself and you don't really want people to know about and don't believe people need those details? No. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about jury duty. I want to. Hi, Crap Team. Instead, I'm going to say hello to you, like select star where user eats tacos. But anyway, the Taco Tuesday thing is a funny thing. I wear a whole bunch of shirts that are just juxtaposition or irony, where I'm being antisocial on my shirt, but I'm talking with you guys openly and asking for your opinions and your engagement and stuff like that. But it's just, this is just to be funny on stream. In real life, it's actually a warning sign that says, don't talk to me. And not because I will hurt you, because I will fall apart and crumble and turn into mush and not know what to do and just keep talking in a nervous way, kind of like I'm doing now. Good thing I don't have a personality, says Spool. Actually, I think they are trying to figure out your personality type. That's why they're asking the questions partly. The types of questions they ask are not to figure out personality type. Maybe if they are observing you, I guess, and they have been taught how to recognize certain behavioral patterns, and not what I think is going on is let's profile you and see if you're going to be better for the defendants or for the prosecutors. Because the whole thing about it's a game and learn how to play it, and this is supposed to be, no, I am not going into that. I have opinions about that. Oh geez. Good thing I don't have personality and no class as well. I'm like school on Sunday, no class. I guess you never went to Sunday school. Anyway, yeah. Footer. Again, feel free to carry on with whichever conversation you think is most interesting, and I'll do my best to keep up. Gabriel says 99% of people aren't psychologists. They use a black box kind of experiment to identify your personality type, but the problem is the people who are good at that are also elitist about it. That is a true statement. I find myself getting to be very preachy when it comes to personality types, and have this belief that it would be nice if every single person in the world understood at a base level how to treat people in a respectful way according to their personality. Not the golden rule where it's like treat people the way you want to be treated, because that's just rude. I don't want to be treated the way that I treat people. I want to treat people better than the way I think they deserve to be treated. Yeah. According to what I believe their personality to be, blah, 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 all of these factors that go into how to treat people right or good. But yes, I'm not gonna agree with the 99%, but I know what you mean. It's hyperbole, but at the same time, it's pretty close to true, or at least it feels pretty close to true. I like talking about personality because I've learned about it, and having in the Myers-Briggs system, there are these things called functions, and functions are, you know how Myers-Briggs has a 4-letter typing indicator system. That's what TI stands for, MBTI. There's a way to combine those letters to come up with what your function stack is, and depending on what your function stack is, that says how you process information. And so I have this one called extroverted thinking. It's my second function, which means it's the one that I do more actively, which is why I am talking with you guys a lot, why I'm expressing ideas and sharing ideas and thinking that this should be a discussion about how I can get better at what I'm doing, because of my FI. It's what I think I need to do, what is right. So anyway, point is, not everyone is going to go that deep into it and understand that there are these function stacks that say this is how they're going to process information going in. And then there's another personality system called the Enneagram that says this is why they're going to behave the way that they are behaving. And if you can understand that much, then maybe you can treat them differently in a more respectful way if that's important to you, or yeah. So combining a few personality typing systems, and if everyone just had some information on that, then they can make better decisions on how to treat people, I guess, according to their MBTI, their big five, whatever that's called, their Enneagram, their whatever other system you can come up with. And hi, Marcus. I caught part of your stream and then it went down. I was so sad when it just went off. President Usher said, I went to Sunday school when I was like 5, and apparently I told my mom that God was boring, so she said I didn't have to go back. Marcus said, blue sky thinking. Imagine if everybody had the same personality, that would be boring. I don't care about boring or not. Like, the thing that that my introverted feeling has focused on is, can I live the way that I want to live without being persecuted for it? And can I help other people feel that way as well? Yeah. Boring is fine to me. Information is boring. So I guess we're not going to have one-line meetup groups in the future. These are our meetup groups. We do community days on Friday with live verbal conversations even. Something I never thought I would ever choose to do, but I'm choosing to do it because I get so much value out of it. Oh, thank you so much for the follows. Both you, Gabriel, and the new person that followed. It's just in-person meetups. Probably not. Like, I've gotten to a point where I don't have to physically interact with very many people at all. And so I realized while I was at the courthouse with 150, 200 other people in the same room, just how sensitive I am to being in those situations. Yeah. And I really, really, really want to avoid them. And I can choose to. How did I deal with the office? Same. I had the same, actually, in a lot of cases, the reason I left my workplace, my prior workplace, was because of the energies of the office and being extremely uncomfortable, dreading going into work every day, anxiety, stress, lots of alcohol abuse. And I am going to attribute it to that, although I will say that alcohol abuse in itself was its own issue for me. So they could have been hand in hand. One could have led to the other. And I won't even decide which one led to which, if that is the case. Point is, toxic environments. That's how they all felt to me. So I went away. And I chose a different environment. And now I'm working 100% remote. I used to be in marching band too, by the way. I was in marching band, I played soccer, yeah, those are the two main things. But I've always been like this. I've always had this feeling. There are things that I want to do and experience in the world, but I don't want to have to do all of the things that come with them that are social related. But I know that if I'm opting into doing those things, that the social will come with it. So I'm going to have to find a way to process that. And I did so in a very unhealthy way. And now that I am in a situation where I don't have to deal with that on a daily basis, I just feel so much better. Anyway, don't let LinkedIn CEO bros hear you. Why? How did you manage? Oh yeah, I read that. There was no before. That's what the answer is. There is no before. Has anyone seen Station 11? Station 9? Station 11? Station 11? Yeah, Station 11. There was no before. Just say it how it is. You only have meaningful discussions. I don't think so, though. like that's more of an INFJ thing. I only have discussions that give me the information I'm looking for. So they are very selfish discussions. If we're going to have a social interaction, it's going to be because you're trying to get information from me or I'm trying to get information from you, which kind of sounds like an 8 transactional relationship. Maybe there are some hints of 8 in my personality, in my Enneagram type, but I don't think so. I think it's still from a different place than 8s come from. Hello, C Films. Oh, okay. So meaningful to my introverted feeling function, which is in the 3rd place, by the way. It's not selfish to transformation. It's selfish of me to want to mentor and have that be the extent of our relationship. I think, because I get a boost of knowing that I did something that could help you have an easier time in whatever it is you're doing. So that's my ego boost. That's why I'm calling that selfish for myself. Marcus says, I was in marching band, the infantry. Oh. Yeah, I was in marching band starting from high school. I was in regular band starting in 5th grade. And then I did marching band starting in high school and then through about 6 or 7 years of college. And then I took the last 2 years to actually try to graduate. It was weird going to school and not being in marching band for that short while. It was so weird. We had bands on special occasions. What kind of special occasions? Like specifically presentations or field shows or whatever? Ooh, that tangent was fun. Like when the Dude of Edinburgh visits. Edinburgh or Edinburgh? What it will, yeah. Ooh, footer. Look, a footer. No, I'm not feeling off kilter now that I was starting to talk about personalities and express my opinions on them. I am by no means an expert on personality types. I can give you a whole bunch of information about them. I can maybe help you determine your MBTI type and or Enneagram type, but I still just have my own opinions based off of other people's opinions that I heard on the matter. And the other people that I'm basing my opinions on have studied it and have educated information about it, but they're also kind of more out there opinions. Edinburgh in Scotland. Wow. Wow. I miss castles from Europe. Oh, man. Were you the one that posted the pictures of visiting a few castles? Man, this looks so cool. That is one amazing city to visit, says TBD. One of my favorites. How's the project going? It's going fantastic. We are really close to finishing the restyling. I'm currently working on the footer. And then we just have a couple of quirks that are to do with the resizing of images when we are not in mobile view and the bigger breakpoints. Yeah, this is what the footer should look like by the time we're done with it in mobile view. So I'm gonna have to have the overflow Y doing what I want it to, give it enough margin or padding between this, because my assumption is that I'm going to position this using position absolute and then a transform translate but I could just position it in a grid where this is the first row. It's got 2 columns. I think I'm going to do a grid, and then I will translate the entire grid up. I can either do that or set a margin of a negative number on top of this. That way the bottom stays where it is. I think the latter is what I'm going to do. What do you think of subfooters? What is a subfooter? Edinburgh is how it's pronounced. Oh, Barrow. Edinburgh. So it is actually pronounced Edinburgh. Maybe that's the same place that I'm thinking of. Borough. Edinburgh. Edinburgh. Is there an actual place in the UK called Edinburgh? Or is this the Edinburgh that I'm thinking of? Because you guys can read my mind. Still doesn't sound right? This is probably the Edinburgh that I'm thinking of. Okay, what do you think of subfooters? I'm waiting for C Films to tell me what subfooters are. Boroughs were fortified villages. Yes. Subfooter is a secondary section at the bottom of a website that provides additional information below the main footer. I don't mind them as long as they're visually appealing and have meaningful content. If they don't have meaningful content, then what's the point of adding extra UI? We wouldn't want to add extra cognitive load to users, is my assumption. I could be completely wrong about that. You are currently not grid. You have a container footer content. Okay, we're going to do 2 grids. We're going to do a grid for footer, the outer one, and then this one already has grid. So this is going to be a grid with 2 rows. And the reason I would want to do that is what? I don't think there's a good reason for me to do that. I think we can just leave it as is. So we'll update the footer content grid in our responsive mode. Dukasoft! Konnichiwa! Welcome in. I hope you're having a great day so far. A bit like the Duke of Edinburgh having a footman for his footman. Footman. Oh, please tell me it's gonna work. No. How dare. Yes! So we did get the second shout out in. Thank you so much, Dukasoft. You're amazing. Such an amazing, amazing mod. I'm telling you. Turn on studio mode. Go to archery bot. Find out what the truck is going on with it. You're working. You're up and running. Man, spending so many points on the archery. Hello? It could be the LLM. You awake? LLM? Do you like subheaders? I'm gonna assume they're the same thing, but what is a subheader? Then do the archery thing. Am I even seeing that the archery redemption is coming through on the bot? Go. No. No, it isn't. I'm not connected to the redemption API. Aha. Redemption, whatever it's called. Twitch subscriptions, I think. Subheadings are secondary headlines that appear on a website under the main headline to provide more information or support. Again, same answer. If it's just there to add content, then no. If it's there because it's meaningful and it is helpful to users, then absolutely. Man, and now I've broken the bot completely. Okay. Estapu. Marcus says, my points seem low on all channels. Have they changed the system? I don't know. It's possible you may be getting less points per time as a base viewer. It could be that all of your other channels that you view have updated their points system so that they are more representative of how often the points are used. Are you breaking or are you fine? There was an error applying batch 2 and an unhandled exception on the current circuit. So the circuit will be terminated. Like the Predator. What? Clear site data. Refresh. Same. App settings dot JSON. Okay. Well, I've completely demolished my bot as a service. And C Films wants to know how subheadings relate to the royals. One of the kings lost one of their heads, if that counts. That's called a B heading. Oh yeah, definitely feeling the anxiety itches and stuff with the bot not working the way it's supposed to. How did sound alerts not work though? Did you guys hear the duck noise other than the one that I made? Sound alert should work irrespective of the bot. No quack. How do I refund your bits? Hold on. Is everything Twitch breaking? Okay, so last time I thought it was my stuff, but when I got onto other people's channels that day, they were talking about Twitch having weirdisms. So I'm going to check sound alerts, re-sign in, and then I'll play the quack for the quack. If I can figure out how to get to my authenticator and stuff. Twitch. my alerts.
We don't need to print the internet.
That's... All right, I like that one a lot. Let's keep that combination. We don't need to print the... Okay, so yes. We got noise. And it's working. That's awesome. Okay, good to go. Yes. Thank you. All right. So I can see that my Signal R hub connection is working just fine. Automated Realms bot, we need to start you up. Apps. Are you the one that starts on 69? Do the thing. Oh, is it warm in here? Yes. That is the right version of the app. Connect. There is my subscriptions and joining my channel in 3, 12, 1. Connected. Archery. Oh, wait. There's one thing that I forgot with the archery. Refresh. No. Oh, man. This is my favorite scene. This scene does not have sound alerts. Good to know. I should put sound alerts on that scene. Oh gosh. Archery bot. Settings. I can't do settings from here. Yeah. Archery bot is just broke.
I got a bad feeling about this.
I got a bad feeling about this. You can have a bad feeling about this. I got a bad feeling about this. I don't know, man. Cotton. Game view. What musical instrument is found in the bathroom? A tuba paste. Thank you, Dukabot. And Siribot's joke is no. Down.
If you say that something is a no-no, you think it is undesirable or unacceptable. This answer is from Collins Dictionary.
So the other bot, the one that is not the one that just answered, said, never trust someone with graph paper. They're always plotting something. Cannot provide a value for text gen client. There is no registered service. Since when? I didn't change the code, bro. Something must have changed. Are we in the right branch? Yeah. I just used this. Whatever. Whatever. No archery. Film NSI. Oops. This is mission critical. Didn't touch nothing. I almost read that as muffins. Baked goods. Yes, please. All right, connect on Twitch. Join chat. Ridiculous. Unfollowing, unsubbing, banning. This level of customer service is totally unacceptable. Good. I will send you a survey 13 days after your experience to find out how your experience was. All right. Roll die. Mentoring isn't selfish. It's a sacrificial act. So I usually am not really good at keeping threads, but I understand. Oh dear. Okay, so the bot does work. Oh my gosh. Oh, right. Yeah. Okay, so for some reason, there is no text gen service. Is it here? Are you the one that's getting dependency injected? If so, should you be injecting an iText generation service instead? What? Yes. And you don't even have the... Was I in the middle of making this change or something? I'm so confused. What's going on here? Excuse me. Can you extract base class? No, not base class. Pull up into the interface. Why aren't you pulling up into the interface? There should be a refactor option for me to pull this method to the interface. Oh, I guess the other thing that I forgot to do is check to see if I'm even injecting this. I'm not. Why are you way over there? Services. Add singleton. Okay. And I'm doing it in both the hosted API program.cs and the Blazor web app version. Add singleton text gen API. And is that the one that this one said it didn't have? No, text gen, or yes, games page. Games page. Games page. Oh dear. Why are you guys up here? Oh, oh, you got ET out of it. I was doing Christmas Story. Or could be The Sandlot. Could be anything. Text gen client. So my program.cs for app yeah, you're supposed to get some kind of add text gen service, but I don't think that's going to work regardless of what I do. Excuse me, can you tell me where you are? As I use up, man, come on, SI. I used up all the time trying to do this. Manage user secrets. Open folder. You are called Blazor Web App specifically, and that's why I couldn't find it before. CD, Blazor Web App, Blazor Web App, .NET Watch. And you are going to run on 7231, if I recall correctly. Flashy, flashy. Correct. I know. Add archery bot 7231. Where's this thing? Scene. Pow. Dang it. Whatever. I mean, this one didn't give me an error. You just need a refresh. Yes, just needed a refresh. Oh, no, it didn't. That was the browser that got the message, but not the browser source, because the browser source is not visible. There we go. Hey, look, I got archery working. I did great. Yay. Okay, anyway, that is the end of our camera. But look, you can still shoot. You can still shoot. It's right here. Oh, close. So close. I'm being automated roams for you. Oh, that one was really close. Anyway, what we did today was we finished the responsive styling. We finished the response. I think he just dropped the arrow. Whoops. I just watched a movie, an anime, the latest Miyazaki, Studio Ghibli film. And dude made an arrow bow. Anyway, whoa, it's working. Yes, that's because I ran the right one locally. I don't know why it's not working on my run it as a service, but whatever. Whatever. Today we finished the responsive styling on the final section. The next thing we need to do is the responsive styling on the footer. And when we do that, it's going to look pretty. Then we'll have this much left to do as far as styling for responsive other modes. It shouldn't be too much. And then right after that, we will do the .NET 8 upgrade, as I have promised in the past, to this application. And then we'll decide where to go from there. We'll make sure that the whole application still works, etc., etc. But we'll decide whether we're going to redesign the main data entry pages, which would be the rest of the functionality of the application, or the rest of the UI that performs the functionality of the application, that calls the function, you know what I mean. So we can either do that, or we can go on to actual work products that I'm doing, and I'll finish the financial management tracker on my own, because I'm going to start using it as soon as we are done with the project. Just need to import my existing data into it. I will be using it. But that's going to be it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. I had a fun time talking with you. Thank you so much for the conversations. What is this done you speak of? Done means that it is in a workable state that I don't think that I am going to be changing at all, or very much at all. So that's what I'm going to call it. And thank you so much, Marcus Voice Coder, for being here. Another fantastic streamer. If you've never seen someone who has limited use of their hands doing Visual Studio development, you should definitely check out Marcus Voice Coder. It is very cool to see. He is a very intelligent and knowledgeable developer, .NET developer as well. He uses Visual Studio using his voice and does software development. Great times, amazing coding experiences. So I am trying to go back to my multi-stream, which is now hidden behind layers of newly opened browser windows. And it would be this one. And what? He said he wasn't going to be able to. So we're going to raid over to a good friend of the channel who said they weren't going to be raiding, or it's going to be streaming today from a message that I saw. But we're going to head over to Big Gamey. Raid Big Gamey. I will be back again on Friday. No, he's disabled raid. Oh no. If anyone has a raid target that they would like, I'm gonna be over on Big Gamey's channel, but he's disabled raids for today. The people that I'm currently lurking on are Will the Full Learn, who I think is doing Python still, but also language learning. I don't know. I don't know what all Will the Full Learn does. He is a variety streamer, so he games sometimes, he does art sometimes, and during his morning stream sessions, he does Python learning. But it's kind of hard to tell what point he's at. Python in 2024, hasn't he heard about Rust? I thought it was funny. I liked it. So if no one has any other recommendations, then we'll go ahead and raid him. But you are definitely free to visit whoever you want to visit. Oh, and I guess the other person that I am currently actively streaming on is Wootstev. And I do typically lurk on Omni Digital's channel, but it's not one that I really like to raid into because of the Like, it's already somewhat jarring for me to go from our stream to another channel, but his has a lot going on visually, and so it's kind of rough on me sometimes. So I don't want to subject you to that. Okay, so that's the answer. We're going to Will the Fool Learn. I am going to run away as soon as we write in for a couple minutes, but I'll let him know before I do, because I need to do stuff with the water that I have ingested. Or he's about to wrap up. Is that what he just said? He needs to head out to do stuff. Never mind. Raid. Did you turn raids on yet? Gosh, I don't know. You're on your own. That's it. You guys are on your own. Ciao for now.